guys. Today I wanted to talk about being an empath. So many of you comment and write and talk to me about your experiences being an empath. And for those of you who don't know what being an empath means, you also, because if you're watching this video, you may well actually be one yourself. So this could be extra helpful. A lot of people don't know that they are an empath. They just think that they experience their feelings extra deeply, or that they are just an anxious sort of person, or they get easily overwhelmed. So listen to this, and if you resonate with this, consider this as being something that you actually naturally are. So if you're an empath, there's a lot going on. You are like a sponge. You are an extrasensory sponge, and it's just natural. It's how you're built. You have clear feeling, and even beyond clear feeling, you actually have clear experiencing. So many times people won't realize they're an empath, but they're like, all of a sudden, if they're in a crowded space, they'll just get super anxious. There's so much frenetic energy going on, and that energy seeps into their pores, Or a lot of times they'll experience a pain or a feeling of sickness that's coming from somebody in the vicinity or somebody they're really close to, that they have a natural and deep connection with. These people will often say, I have anxiety, I feel really stressed, I can't be in crowded places, I start feeling all sorts of different emotions, or I feel my emotions really strongly. They often don't realize that they are just naturally a beautifully open person. Their aura extends far. They have a natural ability, and this is really what makes them so profoundly psychic, if you want to call them that way. If you're an empath and you even think about somebody else, this happens all without your necessarily realizing it. I have a couple of really good friends who are empaths, and they will just think of somebody without realizing it. As an empath, you send out a feeler, kind of like an energetic tentacle, and that goes directly, through space and time, goes right through that and dips directly into the energy space of that person that you're thinking about. It's like it just goes right out, dips into their field, scouts about, pulls in that information, gets that data and wanting to know how they're doing it, just absorbs it through that energy tentacle, and then they bring that energy tentacle back into themselves and they pull it back into their field. And the thing is, it's been dipped into the other person's space. So every time an empath even thinks about somebody, a family member, a friend, whomever it is, they are constantly sending out these tentacles that are dipping into that person's field, and then they're pulling them back in with all of that person's energy still upon it. So in that sense, they're constantly collecting other people's energy, other people's stresses and worries and fears and ups and downs. Then on top of that, they are just so naturally open that wherever they physically are, they are absorbing all of that energy too. So the greatest thing I often hear about is, I just get so drained. I just get so drained. And that is because if you think about it, you are expending your energy with all those ropes out of those people all day long. And you're taking on energetically so much that's beyond what is naturally yours. And it's too much to deal with. And it does oftentimes lead to feelings of anxiety. A friend of mine even has, gotten into panic attacks. And this is not at all a substitute for anything you're working through with a doctor. But these are just some of the normal everyday occurrences for somebody who is wired this way. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I tend to hear a lot in the spiritual community about, well, you need to protect yourself. You need to create a shield. You need to go out. If you're going to go out in the world, you better have your bubble on. You better make sure that you're fully protected. Or it's like a shield. It's like protect yourself, get ready, protect yourself, brace yourself. It's either that or it's the opposite, where get ready, get your sword out, go on the offense. And these are two extremes on this spectrum of how we can be with each other. Those are really two of the polar ends of this spectrum. They are the most extremes of these ends, the sword or the shield. And that feeling of, if you foster that within yourself, oh my gosh, I need protection, you are also fostering the idea that you are somehow insufficiently powerful, that you're powerless somehow, that you need protecting from something that could adversely affect you. When the reality is, we are each God sparks. We are each an extension of Source or God or capital L love, whatever you want to call it. We are plenty powerful on our own. We don't need to kind of deepen that groove of, oh no, I'm built this way. I'm really sensitive. I need to gear up before I go out. I need to get my protection on. I need to get my shield up. I've got to protect myself or else, ... Either that or, all right, well, I got to dig my heels in. I'm going to have my sword out. And anytime someone comes around me, I'm going to, press proactively and aggressively into them so they back up. That is, first of all, that's exhausting. Second of all, that is not based in love. That is based in fear. And there's a beautiful middle ground way to think about this process, which is a filter instead. A filter instead of a sword. A filter instead of a shield. A filter is neutral. You're simply establishing an intention. Hey, I always want to effortlessly and naturally have a beautiful love-based filter around my energy. That is always, at all times, naturally and automatically filtering all the energies around my personal space for my highest and best. And if you like, you can set this intention once and done. Your higher self, your soul self will hear this. You will be immediately assisted from this time forward and from this time backward. But if the human personality you would enjoy and appreciate a daily reminder, which can actually be really cool, that can be a great thing to do. It may not be necessary, but it's empowering to just restate this intention each day and remind yourself each day, I'm built this way, and it's beautiful. And it is a profound spiritual gift that helps me connect to others in a way that many people will never really understand. The empaths of our world have an amazing ability to lift others, to offer comfort to others, to really lean in and listen in a way that heals. Your guys' hearts are naturally more open than most because that is your superpower. You are meant to lean into that. You are not meant to be afraid of it and folded down, folded within yourself and living small because of it, in fear, or feeling like you must be aggressive before you are attacked. That doesn't really resonate if you think about it. If you think about why we have these multidimensional connections and awareness, it's all made out of God. If you squeeze a toothpaste and that tube of toothpaste is God, that's us. That's everything. Everything is God-based. Everything is built out of that light and love. So having a neutral and beautiful filter around you, to me that resonates so much more truthfully. It speaks to me being divine. It speaks to my soul being eternal. It speaks to my knowing from my near-death experience, where I was viscerally aware of the fact that fear is a man-made contraption, that there is no reason to be afraid. I intellectually know that. I experienced it viscerally, but it's still difficult to keep that up today on a day-to-day basis because this is where we are. We are in Earth School. Things are super convincing down here and dense and strong. But each morning, if you want, you just remind yourself This is actually my superpower. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, Source. Thank you to all my guides. Thank you to my higher self. And I effortlessly and automatically am always filtering all the energies around me for my highest and best. And consider how you naturally are. If your pendulum swings to fear, that's going to be eliminating so much fear for you on a daily basis. That's going to have a profound impact on how much energy is freed up for you to do other helpful, loving things. If your pendulum usually swings this way, more to aggressive, again, that's going to free up so much energy for you that once was spent swinging that sword and proactively attacking first. You are going to have so much more at your disposal in terms of energy and in terms of an easier time connecting to gratitude, an easier time connecting to others, which again, I find that like when you kind of set in motion something that is in alignment with your highest and best and is in alignment with what's natural for you, these God-given gifts, if you want to call them, things that are natural to you that maybe to others are mystifying, like math for me. I'm like, my brain gears, come to a screeching halt when we talk about anything with that. But these are the things that are natural to you for a reason. They are meant to be incorporated and embraced and celebrated for you to be of service to your fellows, to act on love, which is all any of this is really made out of. So as an empath, if you can switch the way that you think about this to you are not powerless, you don't need protection. And you also don't have to be braced with your heels dug in and attack first to head off something that's gonna come your way. Instead, let's try this. Just give it a try. See how it works for you. I can't imagine it will not feel intuitively and naturally better. And I'm not sure how, but I really have to believe operating in this neutral way, it's going to free you up for whatever that may be, whatever it is you're working on, however you want to be expanding. You are going to have a super boost in energy. Your intuition's going to blossom because you're not going to be so tied up in something that really isn't serving you. You're not going to be so tied up in an energy that is closing you down. You are going to be like back on the expansive train, manifesting, summoning your courage, seeing these results of you settling into your skin in a more genuine and other-centered and love-based way. So I'm really excited. This is a huge deal. I would love to hear how this is going for you guys. Drop the sword and the shield and give this neutral, love-based filtering. Give that a try. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon.